Have you ever looked at your baby and felt something is different, but you couldn't explain what? Not better, not worse, just different. Maybe they cry more than other babies. Maybe they don't sleep easily. Maybe they stare at things for so long. It almost feels like they're thinking, and somewhere deep inside, a quiet doubt starts forming. Is something wrong? Most parents never say it out loud, but they feel it because we've all been told what a normal baby should look like: sleeping well, smiling easily, hitting milestones on time. But what if that idea is incomplete? What if some babies don't follow that pattern? Not because something is wrong, but because something inside them is developing differently. This doesn't mean your baby is highly intelligent just because they do these things, but it may mean they are experiencing the world in a deeper, more sensitive way. Today, I want to show you a completely different way to look at these behaviors, because some of the things that worry parents the most can actually be signs of a very active, very aware mind. And once you see this, you may never look at your baby the same way again. Sign 1. Extended visual fixation. Let's start with something many parents notice. Have you ever seen your baby stare at something for a really long time? Not just a quick look, but a deep, almost unbroken gaze. Maybe it's a shadow on the wall, a slowly moving fan, a pattern on the bedsheet, or even your face. You try to distract them. You wave your hand, you call their name, you move the toy in front of them, but they stay locked in. And for a moment, you wonder, are they even responding? But here's something important. Sometimes your baby is not distracted. They're absorbed. Instead of quickly looking and moving on, their brain is trying to fully understand what they're seeing. The shapes, the movement, the contrast, the tiny changes that we adults don't even notice. It's like their mind is saying, wait, let me figure this out first. And because of that, they stay longer. This kind of deep focus, even at such an early age, can be a sign that their brain is processing more than usual. Not faster in a rushed way, but deeper and more focused. So the next time your baby stares quietly at something small, don't immediately assume they are zoning out. They may be studying the world in their own way. Sign 2. Intense crying. Now, let's talk about something that hurts parents the most: crying. Your baby cries and cries and cries. You check everything. Are they hungry? No. Uncomfortable? No. Too hot? Too cold? Maybe. But you fix it, and still nothing changes. Tired? Probably. But they won't sleep either. And slowly, a thought starts creeping in. Am I doing something wrong? That thought is painful, because when your baby cries and nothing works, you don't just feel tired, you feel helpless. But what if you're not doing anything wrong? What if your baby isn't crying because something is missing, but because they are feeling more? Some babies are extremely sensitive to their surroundings. The light in the room, the sound in the background, the sudden movement of someone walking past, even the emotional tone in your voice. They pick up on everything. And the problem is, they don't yet know how to filter it. So everything they feel comes in at full intensity. Imagine hearing every sound louder, feeling every emotion deeper, not understanding what is happening, and not being able to control it. Crying becomes the only way to release that overload. So yes, they cry more, but not because they are weak, and not because you are failing. Sometimes it's because their nervous system is highly sensitive and alert. And that sensitivity, when understood and supported, can become emotional awareness later in life. Sign 3. resistance to sleep. Now, here's something almost every parent struggles with: sleep. You rock them, you dim the lights, you try white noise, you walk around the room, you do everything you can think of, and still, their eyes stay open, wide, alert, almost active. It doesn't make sense because they are clearly tired. Their body looks tired. Their face looks tired. Even their little movements become slower. And yet, they fight sleep like something is pulling them back. Most parents think they're overtired or they're just being difficult. But sometimes there's something deeper happening. Some babies have very active minds. Even when their body is exhausted, their brain is still processing. Everything they saw, everything they felt, everything they heard, everything they experienced during the day is still running inside them. So when you try to put them to sleep, their body may be ready, but their mind isn't. That's why they wake up frequently, or take longer to settle, or seem mentally switched on when everyone expects them to shut down. And this is where many parents start to feel exhausted and even guilty, because after many sleepless nights, you may start thinking, maybe I created a bad habit. But it's not always stubbornness. It's not always bad habit. Sometimes it's a brain that is still on when the world expects it to switch off. Sign 4. Strong preference for specific people. Another thing you might have noticed: your baby reacts very differently to different people. With some people, they're calm. With others, they become restless, uncomfortable, or even start crying instantly. And it confuses everyone because the person they're rejecting may actually be kind, gentle, and loving. So people say they're just being moody, or they only want their mother. But babies don't read people the way we do. They don't understand polite words. They don't understand social behavior. They don't understand explanations. They feel tone, facial expressions, body language, tension in the room, the way someone holds them, the speed of someone's movement, things we don't even consciously notice. Some babies are extremely sensitive to this. They can sense tension in a voice, discomfort in a posture, or emotional distance in a person's presence, and they react to it instantly, not because they are fussy, but because they are picking up signals that we often miss. So when your baby strongly prefers one person or refuses to settle with another, it may not always be random. Sometimes they are simply responding to the emotional world around them. Sign 5. Early frustration. There's one more behavior that confuses a lot of parents: frustration. You give them a toy, they look at it, touch it, try something, and within seconds, they get frustrated, not mildly, but intensely. They may cry, they may push the toy away, they may look angry, even though they are still so small. Most parents assume maybe the toy is too hard, or they're just getting irritated. But something very interesting may be happening here. Your baby expected something to happen. They tried an action, and their brain predicted a result. But when the toy didn't respond the way they expected, frustration kicked in, because their mind is already trying to understand how things should work. This isn't just emotion. This is early problem solving. It's their brain saying, "This doesn't make sense. Try again." And when it doesn't get clarity, the frustration grows. So instead of seeing this only as a tantrum, try to see the deeper layer. Your baby may not simply be upset. They may be trying to understand cause and effect, and getting frustrated when the world doesn't respond the way their mind expected. Now pause for a moment. Look at everything we've talked about so far: crying more, sleeping less, getting frustrated easily, being selective with people. staring deeply at things others ignore. These are the exact things that make parents worry the most. These are the behaviors people label as difficult, sensitive, too much. But what if we've been looking at them the wrong way? What if difficult is sometimes just different? What if your baby is not trying to make life hard, but trying to handle a world that feels louder, brighter, and heavier than we realize? And the next few signs will make this even clearer. Sign 6. Deferred imitation. Most babies copy you instantly. You smile, they smile. You clap, they try to clap. You make a sound, and they try to echo it. But some babies do something unusual. They watch you carefully, very quietly, and then nothing. No reaction, no copying, no obvious response. You might even think, did they understand anything? But then, later, maybe the next day, maybe after a few days, they suddenly repeat that exact action in the right moment with surprising accuracy. This means something important. They were not ignoring you, they were storing. Their brain was observing, understanding, remembering, and then using that information later. This is a deeper level of learning. It shows that your baby may not always respond immediately, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Sometimes the learning is quiet. Sometimes the most important development happens before we can see it. Sign 7. Obsession with patterns. Some babies love repetition, the same toy, the same book, the same song, the same action, again and again and again. At first, it feels normal, but then it becomes intense. They don't want variety. They don't want something new. They want the same thing. And parents start wondering, why are they stuck on this? But think about it this way. Your baby may be trying to understand how something works. And to do that, they repeat it again and again until it makes complete sense in their mind. It's like their brain is saying, let me master this first, then I'll move on. This repetition is not always boredom. It can be exploration. It can be pattern learning. It can be your baby building a small map of how the world works. So when they want the same action again and again and again, it may feel tiring to you, but inside their mind, something important may be forming. Sign 8. Sensitivity to emotions. Sometimes you don't even need to argue. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't even need to say anything. The mood in the room changes, and your baby reacts. They become quiet, restless, clingy, or suddenly emotional. And you wonder, how did they even notice? But babies don't need words to sense emotions. They read the room in a different way. They feel the tension in silence. They notice the flatness in a voice. They sense when your face is smiling, but your body is stressed. Some babies are extremely tuned into this, and when the environment feels heavy, they absorb it completely. This is why a baby may become unsettled, even when nothing obvious has happened. To you, the room may look normal, but to them, something feels different. And if they are sensitive, they may respond before anyone else even notices the change. Sign 9. Early self-awareness. At some point, you notice something small, but strange. Your baby cries, and then suddenly stops, right when you respond. Then they try it again and again, almost like they're experimenting. What happens if I do this? This is not manipulation. A baby is not trying to control you in the adult sense. This is awareness beginning to form. They are starting to understand. My actions create reactions. If I reach, something changes. If I make a sound, someone responds. If I cry, someone comes close. This is the beginning of agency, the early understanding that they are not just existing in the world, but interacting with it. And once this understanding begins, it keeps growing. This is one of the quiet foundations of learning, independence, and self-directed behavior. Sign 10. Deep, quiet moments. And then, there are the quiet moments, not just calm, not just sleepy, but observant. Your baby becomes still, but their eyes are active. Their gaze moves slowly. Their expression changes. Their face looks serious, almost thoughtful, and it feels like they're thinking. Parents often describe this in the same way. It's like they're processing something. And maybe they are. Maybe they are connecting what they saw. Maybe they are remembering a sound. Maybe they are studying your face. Maybe they are simply taking in the world in a way we cannot fully see. Because intelligence in a baby does not always look loud. It does not always look like early speech. It does not always look like obvious performance. Sometimes it looks like silence, a deep, watchful, meaningful silence.